writing, arts, they all come together, and it's something that's a core part of me. But it's not something I've ever explored before in a capacity where I would want to do it as a full-time thing, because I like that diversity between my day job being completely technical and then my free time being completely creative. So this gallery is my free time. It's completely creative. I can pursue it, and it speaks more to me than my day job does. One is not more me than the other, right? It's about finding what truly motivates you and keeps you going while still doing things that really you enjoy, truly. So I enjoy being technical. I enjoy being good at something. I do that on my days. And my nights, I enjoy being creative. I enjoy having fun. I enjoy talking to people, discovering people, and just motivating other people. Showcasing that, as bad as things can get, they can always and will always get better. We never know what the greater picture is going to be. We're all playing a small part of it every single day till eventually something clicks and you see that bigger picture. But you can't rush that bigger picture. All you can do is be open about how you feel, be honest with yourself about how you feel, what bothers you, what doesn't. Write down a list, talk to yourself. We ignore ourselves so much because we tend to focus on other people, try and either help other people, which you always should, but also not know when to stop and just focus on ourselves. You gotta help yourself before you help other people. You gotta know what you need. Because if you don't know what you need, if you don't know what gets you going, it'll be much harder for you to keep other people going. You need that energy in you first. And you will not find that unless you talk to yourself. Whether it's reflection, whether it's journaling. I personally like journaling a lot because I, for example, will look back on my journal entries from a year ago, from 2 years ago. Let's say I go to today's date from 3 years ago, and I read about how frustrated I was with this problem at the time. I'll laugh at it today and be like, really? This was a problem? Look at where I'm at today. That is not a problem. But at the time, that was the biggest problem in my life. 2 years afterwards, I laugh at it. And that's a good part of self-reflection. Is that writing these things down, being able to go back and see what was a hindrance, what wasn't, what was a good time and what wasn't, really gets you, seeing that bigger picture of how life does work out if you keep going at it. If you talk to yourself and if you open up yourself to everything. Don't always stay in the comfortable zone. That's what a full-time job is going to be like. You get into that routine, for the most part. You get into that routine, you're comfortable, and you rinse and repeat it for a while. But if you start pushing and getting into uncomfortable zones, instead of going home after work and just resting, or if you kept on pushing yourself and did something else, what if you went from one job to another, or from one job to something social to another thing that's social, instead of just going home and recharging? Everybody has different points or break points that they need to abide by, but the more you push yourself into that uncomfortable zone, over time that uncomfortable zone just becomes part of that comfortable zone, and then you're just able to do more and more and more that you're comfortable with.